All right, fight fans, friend to the room, joining us now, unified super featherweight champ, Mikaela Mayer.
The lineal champ. What's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. Listen, it's finally going down September 10th, and I can't wait to get into this fight, breaking this fight down. Baumgardner, a lot of trash talking, but recently we had Jessica McCaskill on the show. I'm not sure if you've seen this little sound bite going on out there, but she was saying we gave her word association and we mentioned your name, and she said unimpressed. She was unimpressed. I'm ready to start some drama. I just want to know, what's the tension? Do you and McCaskill have any issues?
Not yet. Not yet. But I did see some clip of her on another show saying that, I haven't fought anybody, and she asked and then followed up with a question saying, were my belts vacant? So she's talking about something she doesn't really even know anything about. I've taken my belts from long reigning champions. She's got a lot to say for someone with 10 fights in 10 years.
Let me ask you something.
Make no skill.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. Well, you know how we were talking to you recently. I think it was in New York. I can't remember, but we were talking about, hey, one day you might fight Baumgardner. She's about to fight Choi. That's what she's talking about. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're fighting Baumgardner. Do you look at the men sometimes and say, why can't you guys get your act together? Just fight each other the way we're doing it over here.
Listen, that's one of the things that I love about this era of women's boxing. We're changing the narrative and we're getting the fights made. And it's because, women don't yet have the luxury of sitting back and riding off one day win. We are constantly having to hustle. Even my life didn't change after winning my first world title. Any male that won a world title, their life has immediately changed overnight. And, that hasn't happened to me. Fortunately for Baumgardner, us women have built the game so much that she was able to come out of nowhere, be the champion, and then come into the biggest payday of her life. She's in this position because of people who have done the groundwork. Me, Clarissa Shields, Katie Taylor. She hasn't done any of that. This girl is getting the biggest payday of her life after doing nothing for the sport. So,
what did you think? Yeah. What do you think changed? Because I remember, to Barack's point, you did say she wants to fight Choi. She's not trying to fight me in New York when we discussed it. What do you think changed? Why did she jump into this fight?
Money talks, and big props to Top Rank. They stepped up. They put 4 or 5 years into me now, and I've passed every test that they have put in front of me, and they owed me this fight, and they came together and they made it happen. They offered her the money that she couldn't refuse. And did Eddie and Matchroom tried to get it on DAZN? Of course they did. Top Rank said hell no.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. They said, we put 5 years into Mikaela. You've just got Alycia 2 fights ago. There's absolutely no way we're giving you this fight. And, where are they going to argue? So they costed the money and they made it happen for me.
Well, God, dog, at least we got an interview out of you. Thank God.
I would prefer to be on DAZN. but hold on. This is a big fight. No boxing, right? So how did you feel about being on the undercard, the co-main, when your fight against Baumgardner could stand alone in the main event?
I had the choice to be the co-main event for Clarissa versus Marshall. If I didn't want to do this, we wouldn't have done it. We would have had our own main event. And yes, me versus Baumgardner is definitely main event worthy. But I was excited when they brought it up to me as a possibility. I thought it would be an amazing card for women's boxing and for the fans. It's a one-stop shop for 2 world championship fights that doesn't happen. And that's what I'm about. I'm sort of about, setting the new standard in boxing and giving the fans the fights they want and the fights they deserve. And so this excited me, and I said, yes, hell yeah, let's make it happen.
Yeah, it's uplifting, the sport, female boxing. Obviously, a lot of eyeballs on Clarissa and Serrano with their drama. Did you get a chance to see the fight? And I want to talk about Clarissa and Savannah. That Savannah beat her in the amateurs. Did you see footage of it? Were you there? Did you watch that
I was
fight?
there. I was there.
So talk to me about that fight. How did Clarissa lose? I know she was very young, but why didn't she do enough to win that fight at that time?
Okay, so this was so long ago, and I can very vividly remember this.
Okay.
It was 2012 World Championships. God, I was 22. She was 17. And no one knew of Clarissa. Franchon Cruz was the #1 girl in the U.S. at that division. Right. And when they announced that they were going to allow women to the Olympics, Franchon Cruz was the girl that was supposed to go, and Clarissa Shields comes out of nowhere, really young age, just out of the youth, and just sort of runs through everyone. And so when we went to the World Championships that year, it was no different. Nobody knew who she was. And she was going up against girls that are women that were much older than her, much more experienced than her. And I just think that she was still learning how to adapt to styles. And I think that if it was a more than 4-round fight, Clarissa Shields would have been able to adjust and overcome and adjust to that. But it was a quick 4 2-minute round fight, and Savannah just boxed and moved. I just remember her boxing and moving in circles, and Clarissa wasn't able to close that space fast enough.
So in other words, there's no way Savannah can beat Clarissa right now.
Whereas in other fights, Clarissa is overwhelming her opponents with punch and speed. I think that's one of her greatest qualities, especially at a higher weight division where the girls aren't as fast, the punch count isn't as high. But Clarissa's come a long, 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 long way since those amateurs days. And she knows how to adapt now. She has all the experience she needs to adjust to that style. She's faced multiple boxers and movers. She's faced all kinds of styles. So I don't think that you can go off of that fight so long ago. Yeah,
so Savannah, she's been that's her selling point for the last, couple of years. I beat Clarissa. So how do you view her as a fighter? You think that's some rank she should be pulling right now, or she should forget about that?
Well, of course she's gonna pull it, of course, because she did it. And that's it's probably one of her biggest accomplishments to date, is saying that she beat Clarissa Shields. No one's ever beaten her. And so I think anybody would be bragging about that at this point. And so of course she's going to use that, especially going into the fight and building the hype. But a lot changes. I mean, what was that? That was literally 10 years ago. So any smart fighter, any smart coach, any smart camp and team knows that so much happens between now and then, and you cannot solely ride off that one win. And I know she's thinking, I think she's going, she knows what she's going up against. She's seen what Clarissa Shields has accomplished since then. And so,
So before we get back to your fight, it's safe to say that you don't see Savannah beating Clarissa now at this stage.
No, I don't. I think that Clarissa Shields is going to overwhelm her with punches and combinations. And I do think Savannah's a good boxer. And I think she's proven herself to be a strong puncher. She has. But I still think there's some weaknesses there when it comes to speed and the hands being super low. And I just think that she's never really fought somebody with the pedigree that Clarissa has at this level. And so I do see Clarissa Shields coming out on top. Yeah.
All right. So as far as Baumgardner, there's a lot of bad blood between you and her, and you're on record saying that she came out of nowhere. She doesn't have a deep resume, right? But if you beat her in this fight, are you looking to be high on that pound for pound list, right? I mean, where do you see yourself if you were to win this fight impressively on the pound for pound list?
When I beat Baumgardner, I definitely think I deserve a jump in the pound for pound list. It doesn't make me undisputed beating Baumgardner, but I think it moves me past Serrano. I think it puts me at least one spot higher, number 3. And then when I go and beat Choi,
right,
if I can get that fight in a timely manner, otherwise but if I can get that fight, then I think that bumps me up to number 1. I mean, 130 is a very, very stacked division.
So I mean, even though Baumgardner, in your opinion, she doesn't have a deep resume, but how do you feel about her as a fighter, as a boxer, skill-wise?
I think that she has some skill, obviously. She does have some skill, and she has proven to have power. I just don't think she's as well-rounded as I am. I think that she needs to fight in her comfort zone, which is keeping her opponents at bay and trying to land that perfect right hand. But what happens when she can't land that perfect right hand? I'm not a sucker. I'm not Terry Harper. I'm not going to lean in there with my jab and get caught with the right hand by her. She has to time that perfectly to land it. And if she wants to underestimate my power, then that's not going to be good for her, because I'm not a one-punch knockout artist, but I break my opponents down over time. I do, and they feel it. And so if she can't land that right hand in the first 2-3 rounds, she's done for. I know she can't keep up with my pace. I know she doesn't have the conditioning, and I know she doesn't have the grit or the skills to sit on the inside with me. So and I'm going to take it to her.
Am I hearing that's the plan here, to break her down and stop her, the fight not go to distance?
I'm gonna outbox the mess out of this girl. Listen, she wants to keep me on the outside and box me. I can box better. And then when she starts to get frustrated, I'm gonna take it to her, and she's not gonna know how to handle it. How do I know that? She's never had to learn how to handle it. The one time that she's been tested and pushed and taken outside her comfort zone and taken into deep waters was against Leonardo 2, and she looked like a bum. I mean, she looked like an amateur. Can I cuss on this show?
No cussing.
All right.
Wouldn't that take away, if you down her as a fighter a lot, then it'll start taking away from your win if you were to beat her?
No, yeah, you're right. Coach always says, always talk up your opponents.
Right.
Listen, I don't have to talk her up, because she talks up herself. She thinks she's the God's gift to this earth. She thinks she's super slick, super sweet, whatever. And I think a lot of the people think that she's going to knock me out. And from what I've seen, people are thinking that maybe this is the girl that's going to stop me, but that's not the case.
And how does that make you
people
feel
thought,
when you read that?
That's okay. I'm totally fine with, listen, what do you think people thought? What do you think I read going into this fight with Hamadouche? It was the same type of thing. Everyone thought that this girl was going to run through me, knock me out and stop me, and then I was going to get demolished. I'm okay with that. I don't care what anyone says on the outside. These people are not in the camp with me. They're not doing these runs with me. They're not in my hard sparring sessions. They're not there with me and Coach Al doing the work, putting in the work. And I know the work that we put in, and I trust in my camp and I trust in my team. So, she's a good fighter, and she did what she had to do by beating Terry Harper. And now she's in the spotlight. Now, she's getting her shine, but it's going to end. It's going to end quick.
Well, you mentioned Serrano earlier, saying that you would move up above her after this win. Is that something that we should see in the near future? If you conquer 130, moving up to 135 and fighting either Serrano, Katie Taylor, are those the fights that you want moving forward?
Yeah, literally, I do not want any small fights. After I beat Baumgardner, I'm going to give Choi 3 months to fight me. Not 3 months to accept a fight, 3 months to fight me. I'm talking you fight me in December, January, or I'm done.
Wow, I'm vacating right back out then.
I'm vacating these belts. Yeah, right back out. And I'm moving up to 135 because I have always dreamed of having a fight with Katie Taylor. I think I can beat her. I've always thought that I was the one to beat her. And so I want to go up to 135 and challenge myself against Katie Taylor. And once I do that, I'm moving up to 140 because that's where I belong. I belong at 140 and I'll take over whoever's there. I know it's, you have Chantel Cameron right now, the champ, Callie Reese, and, they're both great fighters. I know Chantel from the amateurs. Callie, I'm a fan of hers. I think they're great. But I plan on going up and beating them and then going up and taking out McNoskill and then retiring.
Well, she already, Jessica McCaskill, who you're referring to, says that she was willing to come down to 140 at some point because she feels Katie's not going to come up to 147 to fight it. So then it
nobody wants to see Katie versus McCaskill again. We already saw it. You had your chances. Let it go.
All right. As far as Katie Taylor and Serrano, some people, I don't want to say a lot, but some people felt that Serrano won that fight, that she should have edged it out. How did you feel about the decision?
So I've been waiting to say this because I tweeted that after the fight, I tweeted Serrano got that. And I went home and I'm like, I have to rewatch it again because I was sitting sort of on the corner of the ring and I don't think I had the best view of that fight. But I got a lot of backlash from it. So I'm like, let me go rewatch that fight again. Obviously, it's always different when you go sit down and watch it 2-3 times. So I did that. And with my initial thought that Serrano won. And with the bird's eye view of the camera and what I saw, she wasn't landing the way I thought she was landing. I thought Serrano was landing more because Katie Taylor was moving and she was up against the ropes, which is one of the reasons they tell you keep the fight in the center of the ring. The judges can't see you when you're up against the rope. Like, not all the judges can see you, and so you might get a bad score. So that was me. That was me in a position where I saw Katie sort of back against the rope, and I thought Serrano was landing more. But when I saw from that bird's eye view and the camera on the TV, I gave the fight to Katie.
I mean, that happens sometimes. You have to see it from your home and take your time and break down the fight. Yeah. But it was an entertaining fight, nevertheless. You know,
it was so great. I mean, there was no loser there. It was such a great fight. You know, I respect them both. Props to them both. It was awesome.
All right. Well, I mean, I would love to see you against Serrano, Taylor, any of those fights at 135. But you have to conquer 130 first, and then and then get up to that division. So. Is that what we should expect on the 10th? Just Mikaela Mayer outboxing Baumgardner in every round?
You're going to see a little bit of everything. Everything that I have been working for up until this point is going to come out in a fight with someone like Baumgardner. I believe I'm the better boxer, and I believe I'm the more well-rounded fighter. And so I can box her and I can take it to her, and either way, I have the upper hand.
Well, listen, we're not going to miss it. I can't wait for this fight. I'm looking forward to September 10th. I won't be in London, but I'll be tuned in. Thanks for joining us as always, Mikaela.
Thanks. Appreciate it.